Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the first Pantera show of their reunion tour, which took place last night on December 2nd, 2022. Now, as for whether or not you want to call it a reunion tour or a tribute tour, that's really up to you. I've heard people calling it a reunion. I've heard a lot of people calling it a tribute. I always interpret it from the beginning as a reunion tour, right? Phil Anselmo and Rex Brown together under the Pantera name once again for the first time in 20 years with, Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante filling in for Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell. So, I guess it depends on who you ask. For me, I've always interpreted it as the reunion tour here, but nonetheless, Pantera for the first time in 20 years, of course. I've shared my thoughts on this in the past, so I'm not going to get into it again, but, I'm not a big fan of the fact that they're reuniting under the Pantera name without Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell. I guess it is what it is. There's going to be a varying of opinions on that, but that said, today I'm just going to be focusing on the first show of the tour here and talking about their performance. So that said, let's get into the set list. Let's get into the set list here. This is one of the things that I was most interested and intrigued by was what the set list was going to be. So that said, it is as follows. A New Level, Mouth for War, Strength Beyond Strength, Becoming, I'm Broken, Use My Third Arm, Drag the Waters, This Love, Yesterday, Effin' Hostile, Planet Caravan, Black Sabbath cover, 5 Minutes Alone, Walk, Cemetary Gates here, and then Domination Hollow. That is an awesome, loaded set list in my opinion. When I did a video a few months ago creating what I think was, my dream Pantera set list for this tour, it looked a little bit different than the actual set list here, but I really don't think you can go wrong with any of the songs on this set list. It's a great, essential Pantera set, in my opinion, and, it remains to be seen whether or not it'll change from show to show, but this is the set list here for the entire tour, the standard set. I think that's awesome, and this is a set that you really can't go wrong with. So, some great tracks on here, and of course, what I really love is the representation from every Pantera record from that golden period from 1990 to 2000, even something off of Reinventing the Steel, which is great because that's such a disrespected album. So, to hear something live from that record as well is awesome, and again, this set remains to be seen whether or not this will be the standard Pantera set for every show, but if it is, I think that's great, and I'm in full support of this set list. Moving on now to the actual performance itself, I thought the band sounded great, really tight. I think Phil Anselmo on lead vocals sounded awesome and definitely a lot better than I would have expected going into this. I think he sounds fantastic. Of course, Phil in his prime, one of the best metal vocalists ever. So, all these years later, I think he still sounds really good and, definitely a lot stronger than I had anticipated going into this concert. Charlie Benante on the drums sounded fantastic as well. He's a great drummer, has been drumming for Anthrax for many, many, many years now, and, definitely did justice to Vinnie Paul here in this performance. I look forward to hearing the rest of his performances here on this tour. I think he sounded fantastic. Rex Brown, great bassist, right? Thick, heavy bass lines, great as always. And then you have Zakk Wylde on guitar, an amazing guitarist. He's done some great work with Black Label Society, with Ozzy Osbourne over the years as well. So, him being the replacement for Dimebag Darrell here seemed like a shoo-in from the beginning, and I thought he did a great job as well. The two replacements here, or fill-ins, whatever you want to call them, that being Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante, both did excellent jobs, I think, in my opinion. Obviously this is not their band. Coming into this situation here, immediately going to be at a disadvantage because, it's Pantera without Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell, but I think they both have done their jobs really well, so don't take it the wrong way when I say this, but listening to the performance, it felt like something was lacking. Something was missing in their sound, It almost feels like, when you hear a band, I don't mean a cover band, but like an actual established band covering another band's material. It might be a great cover and it might sound fantastic, but, you just listen and you say, gee, really what's missing here is that original band, so I think as great as, Zakk Wylde was here and, as much justice as he did to the original material, hearing those solos and stuff like that, I just couldn't help but, think to myself, this is great, but it's missing Dimebag Darrell so much. So it definitely did feel empty in that aspect, despite the band sounding really tight. I think they're making the best of the circumstances here. Obviously, like I said in the previous video, and what I shared a little bit at the beginning of the video here today, is that not a big fan of the reunion calling it Pantera, but if you're going to do that, I think they've done a fantastic job here on their first show, even though for me, I just feel like maybe something's a little bit missing, a little lacking, a little empty up on stage without the performance of Dimebag Darrell, but Zakk Wylde, in his own right, is a fantastic player and definitely does a great job here. So that concludes my review of the first show of the Pantera reunion tour, reunion tribute, like I said, whatever you want to call it. But, again, I'm pretty satisfied with this here. I think it sounded great. maybe a little lacking without Dimebag and Vinnie, especially the absence of Dimebag I think was definitely felt, but Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante, both extremely capable and talented musicians, did a killer job here, so for me, I was apprehensive about this tour going into it. I said, in past videos that I would not be seeing Pantera on this tour, but you know what? If they're going to be opening for Metallica on the M72 tour, then I guess I am going to wind up seeing them anyway, so you know what? I'll enjoy it. I'll probably have a good time. I think it was a fantastic performance here and a great way to start off the tour. So that said, my review, thumbs up, all things considered. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up yourself. Subscribe to the channel down below. Turn on the bell for notifications to be notified of a new upload. And let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the Pantera reunion tour and their first show in 2022 at the Heaven and Hell Fest? Let me know all that good stuff down in the comments below. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.